right. So welcome to the podcast. Today we have a unique special episode with Nate Nester from Messiah University, who is one of our race directors for the Unified 5K series. So he is bringing our event to Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Happens to be on the same day as our race in Massachusetts. So it is one that I won't make it to, but we are in good hands with Nate and his team running the show. So Nate, thanks for chatting today.
Hey, thanks, Brendan. I really appreciate you and AdaptX and all you've done to help move this race forward.
Yeah, so I guess we can kind of backtrack to how we first got connected, and I can let you maybe expand on the story in terms of what you were searching for. But Nate ended up taking our AdaptX course, and through an initial conversation that we had that actually stemmed from a nonprofit status refund, I convinced Nate to jump on board for this 5K series. I mean, it started to materialize last fall, which is kind of when you just so happened to come across the platform, and it was just at a time where I was looking for people that might be interested in bringing it to their community. And so without any direction, you dove right in and accepted the responsibility of bringing it. So I guess maybe we can start with, why were you searching for resources on adaptive fitness?
Yeah, thanks. I guess it goes back a little bit. So my craft by trade, I was a licensed athletic trainer here in Pennsylvania for 10 years of my career. Really enjoyed the sports medicine side of stuff. Always did strength and conditioning, health and wellness kind of in conjunction with athletic training. As my son gets a little bit older, and as I was kind of looking for where do I want to kind of personally grow as a human, as a father, as a husband, an opportunity arose at Messiah where I was working within athletics to take over the fitness center. We're somewhat unique, and I'm sure we'll get into it later. Our fitness center at Messiah is open to the public as well. So we sell general memberships. We do some semi-private model personal training, as well as we exist for the students on campus and faculty as well. And so I took over a little over a year ago and kind of started diving into more of the business, gym kind of ownership, if you will, side of things, employing some of our front desk workers, of which we do have one front desk worker who had an accident about 11 years ago now. And he is a C5, C6 incomplete spinal cord injury. That was his diagnosis. And he asked me in probably September or so if I would work with him and train him in the gym. And I said, you know what, I've worked with a whole host of individuals over my course of my 10-year career in athletic training, but never somebody in a wheelchair. So I don't know if I'm the right person for you because I haven't done it. And he said that he had worked out at a local gym, which doesn't require any certifications or training or anything before. And I kind of took that as a notch, like, well, if they can figure it out, then I definitely can. But coming from the licensed healthcare space, I didn't just want to take a guess at it. So talked to our OT and PT department at Messiah just to make sure I wasn't kind of overlooking anything and realized I was overthinking some of it there. But I enjoy learning and I enjoy resources. And so started looking for an adaptive fitness certification to see some of the nuances and intricacies of working with special populations and adaptive athletes, and led me to find AdaptX, who on your platform, it advertised that you're with a lot of local, or not local, but kind of nationwide universities and colleges. So reached out to you, and when I realized there was tax on it and my university would be mad if I paid tax. And I will say, I've done a lot of asynchronous courses and online platforms and things like that. And sometimes they're okay, but largely they're kind of like you're checking a box for your continuing education. I didn't feel that with yours at all. Not really a plug for you per se, just the quality of it. I really enjoyed it. So that led to our conversation, and we've grown now. We launched an adaptive fitness group exercise class in the spring. We're looking at expanding that, partnering with Special Olympics, and kind of growing our access for adaptive athletes, both within our immediate campus community and the community at large around us.
Yes. Yeah, I think the new platform will soft launch on Monday. So we have 9 of the first courses ready, working on a few more. So we'll get your team going as soon as they want to go. It'll be asynchronous, but I think the new curriculum is much more interactive and engaging. So I think it's even a step above what we originally had. So
it's awesome.
I think like, so you're seeking for answers related to adaptive fitness and how to support Kiefer. And I don't know if you would have found them in the course, because I approach it as like, I can't necessarily impart how to work with that individual. Like C5, C6 incomplete doesn't mean a ton to me. The individual is going to communicate what they need to you. So I think that's I view as one of my main roles, is to lower the barrier. Like you said, not to say that you should be negligent in your lack of education or seeking of answers, but just lower the barrier and the concern that some people have that like disability and injury are the same thing, or you're going to further exacerbate someone's spinal cord injury if you train them in a certain way. Like that individual is going to tell you what they need. And as long as you kind of have that open mind and problem solve alongside them, you're going to come up with the solution. So it's not necessarily going to be found in an online resource, but I think the best thing that I can do is kind of share what we've done and maybe make people at least feel a little more confident in getting started, because you got to get started.
Yeah.
So
I think one of my favorite things in that course was one of the initial prep ones, the medical models of disability, and just, which is the way that I've always said, like, I hate these diagnoses, because then people just say, oh, this is my diagnosis, and they either can or can't get better because of this word. When in reality, like, we're treating a person, we're treating a human, and they're all, even with the same diagnosis, are going to be different outcomes. And so your course on that, which I think was the very first or second one, like, well, this is awesome.
Yeah, well, I think that's important. That's why we put it first, and that's why when I do like guest lectures or presentations, I make sure to mention that framework, because I think looking at a disability as a product of what's around the individual and the support and the resources they have, instead of looking at a disability as a set of characteristics, is a pretty important lens. And when you look at it that way, it allows like you and I to take ownership of the experience, and it doesn't like force anything on that individual. So I think that's important. But the Messiah Falcon Fitness Center, so you said it's open to the public. Are you aware of how unique that is? Like, are there universities that function like that, or most of them reserved for students?
Yeah, there's a couple others that do, none in our immediate area. One of my colleagues used to teach out at in Sioux Falls, and they kind of ran a similar model back in early 90s when he was out there. But I'm not aware of any gyms in our area, or really in the state of PA, that function like we do. Our facility is a 14,000 square foot facility. It was built in 2017. And for the first 5 years, it was exclusively campus community, the way it had always been with the old fitness center. 2022, we did a good job of tracking kind of client flow throughout the day, and kind of realized in the summers in particular, there's 100 people that come in the gym, 8 to 2. There might be 25 people at any given time in there. So there's many times where that facility is virtually empty, and we have very nice facilities and a welcoming and inclusive environment, I'd like to think. And so the college saw an opportunity to generate a little bit of revenue by opening up to the public and offering a service to our greater community as well. So it's going on 3 years now that we've been open to the public.
Do you think other facilities being private is like a flow of people, traffic, like they don't want outside people coming on campus when the campus is busy and stuff, with students walking around? Like, what do you think are the main variables to a university rec center being open to more people?
Liability and just fear, I think, are the two big ones, because people don't. The general consensus was, okay, well, what are we liable if this 85-year-old comes into our gym and gets injured? And I said, well, what if that 85-year-old is coming in to spectate a basketball game? They're still on campus. It's the same thing. And so that was kind of a piece of it. And then another piece was just, opening a can of worms of, okay, we're having these people on campus that we don't really control. So what if they harass our students, or our students harass them? Or is it going to negatively affect the student population and such? And so we are limited, right? Like, we can't just grow exponentially and be a $10 million a year company, because that would negatively impact the campus community, and they do have to take precedence. But we're nowhere near that kind of capacity. And it's been really neat to see the mix of students and adaptive athletes and seniors, and just a variety of demographics in our facility that's been unique. One time this past February on a Saturday, we had a spin class going on in our group exercise room. Men's soccer team was doing a treadmill challenge day amongst themselves. We had a 55-year-old female that was training for her first bodybuilding competition. Have a couple power lifters that are students that were working out. And then we had our adaptive group exercise class for wheelchair users. And like, this is all happening in a facility at the same time. And everyone has plenty of space and moving around and working one another. So it was just kind of one of those really cool step back. This is awesome and really unique. So.
No, that does sound awesome. And that's kind of what I envision when like I try to help gyms become more inclusive, is it's not like, oh, just let's reserve a block of time once a day or twice a week for people with disabilities. Let's like figure out how they can be integrated within the entire community. So it's awesome to kind of see that environment transpire. Between Kiefer's employment and his involvement at the gym, like, did that cause you to look at the facility differently and kind of identify barriers, or were you familiar with the physical accessibility of it all before him? And I guess, how do you look at things differently now?
Yeah.
We are grateful for the support of our first show sponsor. Resolution Fitness offers leading brand health club equipment and accessories for residential and commercial use. In addition to traditional exercise equipment, they specialize in adaptive fitness products and wheelchair accessible machines. If you're interested in outfitting your fitness facility or home gym to be more accessible, visit www.resolutionfitness.ca or the link in the show notes below.
I think part of your course, part of just having conversations with Kiefer, is realizing ADA and accessible are not the same thing at all. And even so, we have a front gate to get into our building or into our gym. And if somebody's sitting behind the desk, they hit a button, the gate kind of pulls open, which is a little challenging in a wheelchair to begin with. But there was no way, if no one was at the front desk, that Kiefer could get in. So the higher ups, and this was in the process before I got hired, they said, okay, we'll put in a key entry, and then he can just stick a key in, turn it, it'll unlock the gate, he can pull it open. Well, he doesn't have tone and dexterity in his hands, so he can't operate a key. So they spent this money and put in this thing, but never even asked him, would this work for you? And if they did, it would have saved the college money, because it doesn't work for him. So we have this thing that was supposed to be accessible for him that isn't. The policy when I started, if there's a case of a fire or the elevator goes down, because we are on the second floor, that the policy was, we'll call the fire company, and whenever they come, they'll help Kiefer get out of the building. Like, that's a terrible policy, and I'm not okay with that. And so we started to look into ramps and various things, and just because of code and the way our building's built, none of that worked. So again, just no is not the answer there. So just kept looking, and we ended up getting a stair chair, a power stair chair, evac chair. Works really well. We train all of our staff, all of our student workers on it. Kiefer asked to be a part of that, so they work on helping him transfer to learn what it is. So if there is, in case of emergency, we have that there, and both Kiefer feels comfortable and that student feels comfortable with it. So we practice it periodically. So things like that I've noticed. Since becoming kind of getting more adaptive athletes in there, we're starting to look at, our website and, is it screen reader compatible? And when we put out flyers and various things, like, how do we make that accessible to a variety of different people? How do we have, potentially, lower sensory times or things like that if we get some neurodivergent, some individuals with neurodivergent disorder in our facility. So just looking at a variety of different options, and we're very fortunate that here at the university we have a graduate OT program, graduate PT program. Our engineering department has something called the Collaboratory, and they do kind of international projects, whether it's bringing potable water to sources in Africa, South America, things like that. And they've partnered with us they did a ADA compliance review of our facility, brought up some things that kind of were potential issues. We brought up issues that were compliant, but it's not accessible. And so they're working it into their curriculum over the next year to see how they can adapt and change and maybe 3D print new equipment or various things to help us out. So it's really a campus-wide initiative that was kind of stirred on by hiring an individual with a disability.
Yeah.
So without that, I don't think any of this would have happened.
Yeah. I think that interdisciplinary nature that a university has could be huge. I know, like, we I just wrapped up a project with a UX UI, like computer science team from Boston University, and they were working on some wireframes and some concepts for me for a mobile app. And at the very least, like the first meeting, a student was like, so how does someone who's blind use a phone? And then by like the end, they at the very least were aware of these problems and these things that exist. So I know that when they go out into their career, I think they'll at least design a little more with accessibility in mind. So the university has the opportunity to integrate all those different occupations and kind of teach them about universal design or inclusive design. So I think that's why universities, I guess, are one of the target markets that we would love to work with our course. And I know you're going to have a handful of students and staff take it. And I think like that's important to me too, that it's not just you. Because like, what if you're not at the wellness center on a specific day? Like it can't just be one person that is responsible for inclusion. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does the mission of the Unified 5K align with the purpose and mission of Messiah University?
Yeah, in our mission statement, so we are a faith-based institution, small D3 liberal arts school in South Central Pennsylvania. And in our mission statement, it says that we are created and called for community by Christ. And one of the things that Messiah tries to do is have a very large community influence, whether that's always trying to host different events and services and providers and various things on campus. Messiah was a large supporter of Special Olympics. We always hosted a meet on service day. So Messiah would close down classes on the day of Special Olympics to allow all students to participate as a buddy or help with events and things like that throughout the day. We still have service day. COVID kind of stopped Special Olympics on our campus, but thanks to AdaptX and you and the Inclusive 5K, we're trying to kind of rekindle some of those relationships with Special Olympics and begin adapt their unified fitness program. So Messiah in general, created and called for community, creating that fitness in general. We all know that whenever you have accountability buddies, so friends that are holding each other accountable or you're going to see there, the community-based fitness is way more effective. Kind of through your course and diving kind of more into this, just realizing the discrepancies in access to fitness and just knowledge of fitness and just a variety of barriers when it comes to individuals with disabilities and health and wellness in general. And so providing a space that is clean and hopefully accessible and economic and just in every way, shape, or form, trying to be inclusive. Like you said, not having special times where you can only come here or you can only use this equipment over there, but anything in our gym being open to whoever wants to use it at whatever time is really important to us. So having the 5K on our campus, I think is an opportunity to kind of truly live out and pair that, making fitness accessible to all, not only outside on our campus, but also inside our facility, getting the word out, allowing people to know like, hey, we have this and we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We continue to make mistakes, but we're trying. And we need your help to know what you need to feel comfortable in our space.
Yeah. I think that bringing in external programs and organizations that align with the work you're trying to do is important, because it was one thing when I first started was like, why would your organization want to host a unified 5K and not the Messiah 5K? Like why would you support our work instead of something that just serves the university in the same way? Because everything that we've done, I guess, to put this event together, you could have done on your own without us to a degree, because I've just been kind of supporting from afar. So that's one thing that has kind of crossed my mind, is why would organizations that have their own needs want to support ours? So that's just kind of like, it's nice to see what the secondary effects are, the secondary benefits. Like you're going to get all these people on campus, introduce them to your programs. Because if I want to host these events at other universities or small universities, I need to be able to share, I guess, what the benefit is for the school. So that's just one thing I guess I kind of have to hash out.
Yeah. And to me, it's not like, yes, if we get this person to come to our campus and they join our gym, great, cool, that's whatever. But to me, it's a little more than that of, future dollars down the road too. So if they come, so there's developmental fitness and fitness for focus and us. So we all do adaptive fitness, but we're all very different in how we go about doing it. And I think individuals need to have a choice. Some people want to come in our gym and work out alongside whoever. Some people might want to go to a gym that caters exclusively to adaptive athletes, and other clients want somebody to come to their house and do personal training. And so we offer all of those services through different communities and things, but we are also the only one that also provides an education among those as well. We're starting a residential certificate program for individuals with intellectual disabilities at Messiah this fall. It's called the Next Steps program. And why can't Messiah use things like this to just reach out? And whether you do fitness with us or not, okay, but now you're connected to all these other service providers, organizations, and businesses in the area that help support or provide services. And future down the road, now Messiah is kind of in your brain. So when you're looking for a college, we are one of the few that has a residential certificate program, or programs in general, that now you choose Messiah over the others because you have that familiarity there. So from a college standpoint, if you join my gym and spend $20 a month on a membership, that's one thing. But if you join and then come to our college for 4 years, that's a completely different return on investment. That even one student does that because they met you at the Unified 5K. That should be a sell for universities to engage in a 5K.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I love your openness to collaborate, because like when we identified fitness for focus and we identified developmental in our like preliminary research, it was like, oh, are these competitors? And pretty much like instantly you're like, oh no, they're not competitors. We're all different. But I think so many people would see anyone that serves like someone with a disability and be like, oh yeah, that's a competitor. They're competing for the same grants. They're competing for the same clientele. But so I've really appreciated, I guess, your perspective towards that and your approach towards that. And you've kind of been the perfect like race director to kind of spearhead this mission, because you do believe in the same things that we do. So over the last few months of organizing this, anything specific that you feel like you've learned, or that if we bring it back next year, you'd want to do differently?
Yeah, part of it is redesign the course. There's a few more hills in it than I would prefer, but the preferred location that we would start and finish at, they're repaving an entire parking lot and like our athletics region. And so it's completely offline for the whole summer. And so, yes, so we'll have a new course when we do this in the future. With the adaptive fitness, everything that we're doing, because we're on a university campus as well, we try to get students involved in any way, shape, or form. So I have 3 students that have all taken a role in helping me with this race director role. One is kind of our vendor coordinator, one is our volunteer coordinator, and then one is our kind of participant coordinator. And so getting them, just like you said, you were working with University of Boston on that, getting these students to kind of realize all these nuances and what it is to kind of lead and grow and put a race together while I'm learning as well has been, I could not have done it alone. So having students assist has been awesome. Having your help and your interns assist and organize things as well, it's been great. So I truly do think a university is probably the best host because of all the internal things that already go on, working with conference and event services and safety on campus and all those things that you already have those communications there, instead of trying to figure out a community park to put it and then who do I talk with from where.
Yeah, no, it's been really seamless with you guys, and I don't know if it's your connection to the greater community, whether it's police, EMT, detail, but like every time I have a question, you're like, oh yeah, we already got that approved. Whereas like some of the other races, I'm trying to figure these things out as I go, and I by no means have all the answers, but all of you have kind of came along for the ride and figuring out what those answers are. So yeah, I guess I've learned that there's not one size fits all. The race that we just had in Rhode Island is going to be different than the one that we're going to have in Pennsylvania. But do you think time of year, like after the semester's over, is the best time? Would you want it in the fall or earlier in the spring? Like, do you think there's something that would be better? Or?
Yeah, when we first started talking about it, it was back in December, and pretty much our summers are chock full at that point already with other conferences events. Right. This happened May 31st, the same weekend as yours, was the only weekend that nothing was booked on campus. And so I was trying to make sure we had it on a weekend that there wouldn't be cars everywhere, because I knew we were trying to have an accessible race. And
safe. Yeah, safe would be good.
Yeah. So I would love, and I don't know how exactly it would all work out, but like I said, we used to do Special Olympics track event on service day. I think it'd be awesome to pair the Unified 5K on service day at Messiah, where there's no classes and all students could help out or participate or run.
That'd be cool.
We would just get more if it's not.
What time of year is the service day?
It's in April.
April, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be cool, because we had also, when I was looking at other potential sites, was kind of looking at, are there already like adaptive sports expos that I could just pair my race onto, or is there already a race where maybe I could make it more inclusive and accessible and add the expo piece? So there's a few different angles. We'll have to maybe chat about if there's other universities within, like, that you guys communicate with. There must be other smaller liberal Catholic universities, Christian universities that you guys communicate with or work with. So maybe that would be a good angle to expand the series.
Yeah, the other one that I've thought, and I haven't run it by them yet, is Penn State Hershey, as well as Spooky Nook. They both do rec fests, specifically put everything together. And they're just simply expos. So do we add the race to one of those? Penn State Hershey has been a huge partner in this as well. Our group exercise class for wheelchair users was advertised exclusively through the Penn State Hershey Spinal Cord Support Group for our initial kind of pilot class there. Peg and Nancy, the two kind of directors of that program there, have just been awesome to work with. They invited me there to talk to their whole rehab department just about what we're doing, get some connections there to different OTs, PTs, in all the different specialty disciplines there, and work with them. And come to find out, 7 of their PTs and OTs are also members at our gym already and live in our area. So that was a really cool connection, because then, I'll see them come in the gym, and if I have a question, I can just ask them real quick. And so it's been really neat.
Yeah, that's good. I guess the other like variable is city versus suburban area, and which is better. And you could make the case that city has more people, maybe more public transit, easily accessible in that regard, but it also usually means busier and permitting and police and various other pieces too. So again, it's probably one of those things where it's not a one size fits all, but each different community that we're in is a little unique in terms of their composition. So it'll be cool to kind of see what type of environment's perfect, but not that there might be one that's 100% perfect, but which ones has different pros and cons for sure.
Yeah.
But so we're about 2 weeks away. We'll do our work to recruit as many people as possible, reconnect with some of our charity partners to get their members signed up. But looking forward to seeing what May 31st looks like. Hopefully there's good weather in both Massachusetts and Pennsylvania. Yeah. You guys have an awesome lineup of vendors. There's going to be wheelchair basketball and sled hockey, not in the ice rink, but outside on rollers. There'll be sled hockey with Puckog sled hockey program. So it'll be cool to see that stuff. I mean, the goal of the expo is to educate and introduce people without disabilities to adaptive sports too. So I found it really fun playing wheelchair tennis in our Rhode Island one on Saturday. It was my first time being in a chair and playing tennis. And I found it just as enjoyable, if not more enjoyable, kind of learning a new skill. So it would be cool to kind of give people that experience.
Yeah. So I think Kiefer, so we, one of our classes, exercise testing and prescription, we took them through our adaptive circuit that we did for our group exercise wheelchair class. And it was funny, just like when we're using the ski ergometer, there's be 1 or 2 kids that would just let go of the ropes and they pop up and the next person would roll over in their chair and
they can't reach them.
And so like just those nuances when people don't realize until you're in it. And so Kiefer had brought one of his extra chairs along. He's like, now the condition for me letting you use this for the course, Nate, is you have to get from the parking lot into the facility in the chair. And I was like, okay, that's not bad. Boy, it was difficult. Yeah. So
yeah, that's where like the hands-on practical experience is something that I would like to figure out how we can provide. Like maybe it's take the AdaptX courses, and then maybe I can have sites like whether it's Messiah and like once a quarter or something, you and Keither have like a hands-on, like come to the adaptive fitness session and at least experience it. And that like for coaches, not necessarily for adaptive athletes, but just like see what it's like to try to do a wall ball from a wheelchair, or just one arm rowing or something, just kind of figuring out what that stuff's like. I think is a great hands-on experience that you can't really appreciate until you do have that. But it'll be good to see. We'll link obviously the Unified 5K stuff and get this up to you so you can kind of share it. But again, really appreciate your help with bringing this to a new community. The team at Messiah, the Kaylas, and all these students that are working on it have been incredible. So we thank them too. But Unified 5K Mechanicsburg, the inaugural event on May 31st. So Nate, thanks for chatting real quick, and thanks for all the help that you've provided for this.
No problem. Thanks. Couldn't have done without you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the AdaptX podcast. Our effort to amplify the ideas of our guests and create more inclusive and accessible industries is futile unless these episodes reach a larger audience. If you enjoyed our discussion today, please leave us a rating or a review on whichever platform you use. And if you would like to learn more about AdaptX, the course that we teach to health and fitness professionals and the projects that our organization is working on, you can subscribe to our newsletter through our website, www.adaptx.org. Until next Monday.